Three shots, four par, I just do two. One putt, par four, birdie, woohoo. New driver, info, replace, M2, par five, fairway, what you fin do? Think I'll try to get on into. Start right, good line, good view, it drew. Shoot and make Avid.
All right, we're here with Chris from Chris's Custom Clubs. Chris, how are you doing, man?
Good, buddy. How are you, man?
We're doing really good. Thanks for hopping on. Chris and I,
dude.
We got Bryce back. Bryce hasn't been on in a month, and Bryce, Chris and I already had a conversation, so we wanted you to publicly apologize to us about moving the time back. I told Bryce that we were recording a half an hour ago, Chris, just in case he was running late, so we didn't have to jam you up again.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, welcome back, Bryce. How are you doing, man?
Good. Been pretty busy over the holidays. My parents actually came down to visit over New Year's and stuff, so it's good to see them. Yeah, just a good holiday and really busy. Hence me not being here, but good to be back.
Yeah, I was telling Bryce, Chris, that we had a couple people ask where he was, so he's he thinks he's the star of the show. But for this episode, we got Chris from Chris's Custom Club. So you're the star of the show, my friend. We've been chatting for some time now, Chris. Figured it'd be good to. I'm located up in Toronto here. Bryce is in Michigan, so we got a couple.
And I am down in the absolute armpit of California.
So we got a couple of quadrants covered here. Maybe we could have a chat and get some people over, kind of check out your page. You got a really cool Instagram page. You post lots of videos and stuff, and your work is incredible.
Thank you, dude.
Yeah, of course, man. Maybe just start us off. Tell us about yourself. What got you into the golf space?
Well, so like I've been playing golf my entire life, since I was 3 years old, and I played competitive golf from age 11 to 19-ish, and I played a few small amateur tournaments, and then as I was getting my ass handed to me, I just realized that like if I keep doing this, dude, I'm just gonna starve, and there's no way that I'm going to carve my way up the Golden State Tour or Corn Ferry or anywhere that's going to get me near something over $750, which is like what the maximum you can earn as an amateur, like per event. And so I just realized, like, man, I'm coming in. I was shooting like at best, I think my best round as an amateur was like +9. It just terrible. Everywhere was terrible. Competitively, I just didn't have the chops, and so I just got really mad at golf, and I had a really kind of toxic relationship with golf and myself, and I stepped away and just learned to trade. I just started wrenching on cars, and then from there, after a little while, I got an opportunity to be a pump and turbine machinist and mechanic, and so I just figured I would go industrial, and that's where I learned how to treat metal and grind and reweight things. And then when I got laid off at the beginning of COVID, after feeling sorry for myself for like, I don't know, 3 or 4 months and trying to find something that was basically identical, because that's what people do. You just follow the same patterns you've already done. And so once I figured out that was just not really a possibility, the job market just wasn't there for a rotational equipment machinist or mechanic, I built a set of golf clubs for myself because I had learned how in high school at my coach's shop, and just threw myself to just a regular set of JPX 900s, some Mizunos, and I went to the driving range and I sold them out of my bag that night. And that was just kind of like the light bulb for me. Like, okay, if you can put this, silly, teal golf set together and sell it at the driving range for 3 times what you got in it, no reason why you can't do that one more time. And then I started just selling golf clubs, and then I laughed at the Board of State Equalization Office, which is like where you have to go to get a resale license. I laughed getting it, thinking I'm never going to use this. This is the dumbest thing ever. And now I have to close my books every 3 weeks to make myself not miss anything. Like, it's been a really interesting ride, basically, just from posting kind of one reel and doing consistent work. And it really does get you noticed, like less is more. kind of in today's golf world now. And you see a lot of kind of genericism amongst a lot of golf pages. And I think what sets me apart is that what you're not expecting is to see, a dude who looks like he should be wearing overalls, building your golf clubs and hitting piss missiles into the darkness. It's just not what people are expecting, I think. And I don't know if I would, like label myself as different or, unorthodox, but I guess I'm a little unorthodox in the physical sense. And so that's attracted a lot of people. And then to then tell people, like, don't do anything that I do, but swing easier. That's it. That's all I want from people. Like, I don't want to influence anybody in their opinions. I just want people to swing softer and think about the fit of their golf clubs before they go to swing changes. That's all.
Yeah, you are. You're kind of a very. You're almost like Bryce's height, my body. Like it's it's pretty like that's pretty accurate. Like I'm a big, like kind of like a bigger guy, kind of stocky, and Bryce is tall, so put us together and that's your swing. My swing fits is a lot more like yours and Bryce's. He's got a ton of torque in his swing. But you kind of mentioned how you got into in the golf space there, the custom and restoration world. Like was that it? Like that night you kind of went to the driving range, like how did that happen? Like somebody came up to you and just asked you about the clubs? They were so different.
Yeah, it was a gentleman that actually worked at the driving range that came up and asked me about them. And he was like, "Hey man, like these things are crazy. Like I've never seen golf clubs that are teal before." Because I bought some teal ferrules on eBay and I bought some teal #1 Japanese grips, and it looked good. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
but nothing was, out of the ordinary, outstanding.
Were the actual irons teal too, or did you just have kind of like the accent?
I just did like the paint fill with some testers and stuff because I was still a pretty broke bitch at that time. Like I didn't really have much to show anyone but potential. So, I was building clubs on a plastic table in my, in my girlfriend's garage, not even mine. So
yeah, I've got a couple trade backgrounds as well. Like I've got automotive and welding as well. So I it's just not something I've never dabbled in like the club world, but I've got a couple, like I've got a set of wedges that I want to have a look at. I don't know if you've heard of Haywood wedges, but
yeah, of course.
Yeah. So Joshua's been on the pod before. Great guy. He's Canadian as well. For now, I think he's moving down your way. At some point, I know they were trying to go like Arizona, California. They've talked about that, but they've got some.
He's gonna want to stay wherever he's from, though. I'll tell you what.
He's like they're so minimalist as irons. The wedges, and I just love them. But I kind of want to try and I don't know. They've got some copper ones, but I kind of want to try and do it on my own, or I might have to ship them down to you or something because they're cool. I'd like to see how they can turn out. But
bro, if you've got a trades background, I can teach you right now how to copper electroplate. And anyone who's got 3 fucking brain cells listening to this podcast right now, I can teach anyone how to. I can teach anyone how to electroplate without showing them anything.
Yeah, that's kind of the idea, right? Like
so simple.
It'd be so cool to. But hey,
if you have raw steel and you got like 2 hours of time, dude, you can make anything like polished titties chrome, anything.
Yeah, Bryce, we might have to take a class, man. Maybe you got to start a class, get on these Zoom calls and do a class.
Yeah, dude, I'm gonna charge people for that though. I'll tell you guys how to do it, but I'll charge other people.
So what do you think of these new releases? What do you think of the what do they call it, the carbon wood age or something?
Yeah, man.
Like I know Callaway's got the Rogue series back out. I was looking at the SM9s the other day. They're kind of like, they look almost like they look like the SM8s with like a bit of a ping glide look to them, you know what I mean? Like a bit more rounded. Yeah. So what do you think?
Way less. So I like I haven't hit the stealth, but I play a Sim 2. And so people say that it feels okay. So I love my Sim 2, and all of the shafts that I've put in it have virtually been the same. Like minus the high launch ones, but like if you put a low spin shaft in it, it's great for me. I can just find somewhere up there, and it's usually not that bad. Because I mean, like when your swing speed gets up in the 115s, bad things happen, you know, like
Tell me about it.
small misses equate to very, very large, you know, ugly looping misses. And so like I find that the sim does kind of like minimize my shittiness off the tee, because I've always been really crappy off the tee and really great up near the green. And I use a 5-wood around the green, interim a wedge. I don't really use a wedge around the green. I Texas wedge almost everything, and people laugh until I sink a 30-footer right in front of them. And I implore people to get creative around the greens too. But getting back to new releases like the Stealth, I hear that it does like amp your ball speed a few miles an hour for the average person. My buddy Brandon, who's a club builder at Shafts and Balls, great guy. He hit the Stealth this morning. His average carry was like 297. You know, I mean, the guy's 5'10" and 170 pounds wet weight. So he's, you know, not what you would, you know, like he hits the ball just as far as I do. And he's, you know, a 3/5 scale version of me.
Yeah.
So I have no doubt that if I were to hit the Stealth, it would indeed give me that few extra miles an hour. I hear people say it's pretty forgiving. And my one quandary with the sim was that the auditory feedback was not great on it. So kind of sounds the same no matter where you hit it on the face.
Right.
And they say that they have kind of worked out that kink where now you can hear your miss hit. And they say that the miss hits, they're pretty good. So I'd kind of like to see that.
Yeah, it's definitely like they've done something. It's intriguing, right? Like
yeah, I'm intrigued for sure.
Yeah, I'm hitting the sim too, and I was playing the M6 before, and I thought that there was a difference between the two as well. Like I thought that there were some improvements. I know you mentioned that there wasn't really all that. I don't know if there was much science that went into the difference or the two, but I guess the face was a little bit bigger, and
for sure,
you know, so I definitely found I got a bit of extra distance, but the carbon, I don't know, the carbon face has definitely got me intrigued. Bryce and I are both hockey players, and they've had like carbon hockey sticks forever, right? So
of course, carbon bats and stuff too, and they get you know, like they get hotter with time.
Well, it's just completely different material. Sorry to cut you.
Yeah, man.
Off.
No,
it's
go
just
ahead.
Completely different material. Like who knows how it's going to react, right? Until you really swing it and feel it
for a long period of time.
It's going to be a driver, but it's a complete different material. So like I guess you're gonna have to swing it to really get the full feel of it, in my opinion.
I think like honestly my favorite looking release was the new Callaway Rogue. The LS had that thing just screams sex at me. And I'm not even a Callaway guy. I'm a Mizuno TaylorMade guy to my core. And I normally, you know, kind of, I don't want to say turn my nose up at things that are, you know, Callaway, but my mind goes negative places when I see bore through things. And when I saw that new Rogue, I just completely forgot that Callaway ever made anything bore through, and it just looks so fucking good. I just love that.
Yeah, like I haven't played any Callaways. I used to play the X Tours like back in high school, and I love those irons. Like they were great irons, but I haven't really my eye hasn't suited Callaway either. Like I was telling you, I've been playing.
Yeah,
you know, Srixon, anything Japanese forged, like you mentioned, was just
same.
So clean,
yeah,
right?
So good, so soft, so crispy, so good.
Yeah, like I love it. But you're right, it's a good looking driver, man. It is a really good looking driver, that's for sure.
The head is very appeasing, and like people say that the Stealth, you know, looks really square also at address, like the most flattering, you know, on the floor head shake that they've seen. And, you know, people can talk shit and put hot dogs, you know, edited in on the top of the face or whatever, but people haven't seen what a raw carbon face really looks like. You know, like,
yeah,
they would not have bought it if they did anything else with it. So
it does have like that old like stove kind of coil look to it. Like I guess if you like really want to kind of dig on it, but I don't know. I like it. I like red and black. They're my two favorite. They're my two favorite colors, so it's an easy sell for me, right? So
yeah.
Me personally, I like the Sim a little better, but I think the Stealth looks good for sure.
Yeah, they have that white crown option on the website. You know, if you want to wait forever and tomorrow for your custom upgrades. Um, if you want to wait forever, you can just get the white crown with the blue face, and that would be a pretty tough look, man.
Personalize it, look at it, make it look like the I guess the M2 a bit from the address, right?
Yeah.
But can we talk? Can we go back to maybe some of your builds, Chris, and maybe maybe some of the restorations? Do you have a favorite build to date so far? Like anything that kind of sticks out that you know was just something that you really enjoyed putting together?
Yeah, actually, there. So one of my buddies, he is a law enforcement official. I won't drop his name or anything. He's a law enforcement official in Vegas and works in a really, really crappy part of like North Vegas, as I recall him saying. But he had been just jerked around by Mizuno NA, like at the factory, which was normal. You know, there was a shortage of everything. He was, trying to get his MP20s, and he had already paid for them, and it had been like 3 months. They were supposed to ship, never shipped. So then he got his money back, hit me up and said, like, dude, if you could get these things, like, and just build them out, just, like the cleanest blades that you could ever imagine. You have total creative freedom, just go at it. And I was like, oh, sweet. I can't wait for this. So I found, I used one of my homies, John, who lives in South Korea, and he's just an American dude that moved to South Korea to sell golf clubs. Basically, he saw like a vacuum, and he just decided that he would use an eBay like link seller site. And so I bought a set of heads from him because the Korean market is always, flooded. It's been huge there forever, so there's no shortage. And I got a set of heads from him. I had a beautiful set of S300s here, and I got some beautiful blue ferrules for him. And I started making my own epoxy resin paint, so that I didn't ever have to hear that the paint was like, chipping, cracking, coming out. So I just decided that I would kind of develop my own epoxy paint, and like it probably took me 4 or 5 days to really like dial in the measurements, like the consistency of it to get it right. And those blues just hit so good, so clean. I just loved building that gorgeous set of. I'm not a polished chrome guy. I'm really not big on shine. I really like raw, but for whatever reason, something about really polished chrome on Japanese irons, it's just sex, man. So good. So good.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like I definitely like the raw look, especially at a dress. Like I think most people do. But yeah, like some of like the really nice, like clean, like the MP20s or something like that shined up. They obviously look pretty sweet,
They look.
I think they
so
look good in the bag. They look good when they're in the bag,
they look
all
so
shiny.
Good. I play MP20s myself, but mine are like brushed because I play the shit out of my clubs. I'm not very nice to my own. I think that's just like if you are an auto mechanic, you don't really maintain your car. Kind of the same thing. Yeah. Like my clubs are super low maintenance, bro. Like I really don't take care of. It's not that I don't take care of them. I clean them after every shot and then I throw them back in the bag. They're just tools to me. They're not.
Yeah.
I'm attached to them, but they're just tools to me.
All right, so I got one to ask you about. It's the Strixon. It's the driving iron. It's on your page. You posted it, and it's got kind of like the stamped heel on it. Do you know the one I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah, man. That's for my buddy Dan.
Yeah, so that I'm playing, like I've got the same. I've got that in a 3 iron. I'm not sure. I can't see the bottom of it here. I'm not sure if this is a 2 iron or a 3 iron.
It's a 20 degree, so I think it's a 3 iron. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Okay, so I got the same club in my bag. Like how do you like I know the ferrule and stuff like that you can adjust them, but that's just a straight stamping that you've done on that?
So what that is actually like 14 grams of lead tape, and then I take my smallest peen hammer and I just lightly make kind of a mosaic on the back of it. I like to consider myself kind of a lead tape artist. I've always had an affinity for it. I've always added some to the sole or the toe on my long irons so I can turn my hands over a little bit better, not hit such high fades. And I've always just kind of used lead tape. And then once I started following this page at Lead Tape Chronicles, and like I always called it Slab Cities on the back of my clubs, and people always like laughed at me. And then I see there's this massive following for just that Slab City saying, and I was like, man, there are more of me out there. This is so cool. I had no idea.
Yeah, the Levitate Chronicles page is pretty cool. I like it. I find it fascinating to see what everybody does with their clubs and where they put it and whatnot. But I know we've had some fitters in the past that just like they absolutely despise lead tape. It's all kind of your interest too, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, like I like all things rusty and crappy. I love everything vintage. I don't use anything that's new school. Like my swing weight scale is just a scale. It's not digital. Like my calipers, they're just calipers, not digital. I don't really use power tools. I think they're the devil in restoration. So I think people can skip a lot of, just cut corners with power tools where sandpaper would have been enough, and you don't have to alter its original form that much if you just go by hand.
Mm-hmm.
You use a file instead of a belt sander, and use sandpaper instead of an orbital, sander. You're going to get a lot better results, and they might take longer, but hey, bro, good shit isn't cheap, and cheap shit isn't good.
Hey, that's a great segue. Hold on, Bryce, before we move on, because I wanted to ask you about the Meridian putter, and you use that as the caption. That thing is like one of the best looking putters I've ever seen. Do you know the one I mean, the copper plated one?
Oh, the copper one.
Yeah.
She's beautiful, no doubt. So I started. I don't have the startup capital to just start machining my own putters, but I definitely love the idea of me teaming up with like a smaller putter, manufacturer,
right,
and coming up with unique designs, because I'm helplessly creative and I love the sport so much. So I love a varying, cast of putter designs, period. Like whether that be center line, plumber's neck, flow neck, heel shafted. I love them. The weirder, the better. And the more square they line up, the more I fall in love with them. So I just love all things putter and roller. That one hop and roll is just so addictive, and to hear it hit that cup on a putter that you built, it's just it's super rewarding feeling to see someone satisfied with the putter that you altered. Yeah. I think I get emotionally attached to my customers' putters too, and I get to see their reaction when they get it back. And I think that's one of my favorite things about, as hard as it is for me to like let go of the putter that I love to see them happy with it more.
For sure.
Because it is kind of taxing to constantly bring in all these beautiful clubs and just send them out like they don't, like you package them as much as you can, but at the end of the day, you're still at the mercy of your carrier. It's a long box, really fragile in the middle, and it sucks to ship it out that way. Like I shipped putters last week to King of Prussia, Pennsylvania, literally like diagonal to the other side of the country. And like I was nervous for that thing. He paid good money for that putter, and so it's terrifying to do golf through the mail.
Mm-hmm. Definitely is, man. I was telling you that one. I asked you about that one because it suits my eye. I've played the Del Mar, so it's it's a heel hosel type putter, right? So that one's always kind of up my alley.
Oh yeah,
I like that.
Oh
one,
yeah. Well, I'll tell you what.
Buddy, going away from putters. Go ahead.
I'll tell you what, buddy. When I get my next shipment of heads, we'll go ahead and take some measurements for you and get you one of them.
Yeah, I definitely have to have a look at that. Sorry, Bryce. Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying I was just looking through your page here. Those SMA8s, the black heads with the white shafts.
Oh yeah, baby.
I'm not so much a putter guy because I can't putt, but I love those wedges. I think those look phenomenal.
Oh man, they're so good, aren't they?
You could you could use a little help with the wedges, Bryce. I think they might help you out getting a little SMA. You got a bit of a mixed bag, so you can work those out.
Yeah, I could rock those.
Definitely.
Those are for a big homie named Jordan. He's a big, strong kid. He was working with some pretty standard all around wedges, standard grips and wedge flex, and
That's
Man,
right.
he was wrapping those things around his giant ass shoulders.
Man, I just had a look at those. Those are clean with the red fill. I like that. Is that the ones you're talking about, Bryce? Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, those are nice. So again, like anybody on with us right now, we're talking with Chris from Chris's Custom Clubs. It's custom_clubs with a K. So KLUBS. You got to go over and check out this page, man. These things are beautiful, Chris.
Thanks, bro. I appreciate you guys,
love it,
man.
I'm definitely gonna have to check out some of these. I like that you got copper ones sitting right beside them. Damn, man. So nice.
Do you enjoy working with certain companies and certain brands of golf clubs, or do you kind of whatever comes in, you're more than happy to oblige, or do you have a few companies that you lean towards? I'm definitely
a picky builder. I don't mean to be, but there are just some things that just don't appeal to my eye, so I feel like I won't deliver the best product, so I just don't deal with it. I love Mizuno, Strixon, TaylorMade, and Titleist stuff.
Okay.
Adele also. I'm a big Adele guy. I really like Adele stuff.
So they're so clean. Their wedges are just so nice.
That's what I play. I play Adele wedges. I play the Bonies, and they're just. I will say I'm not a fan of their full shot capabilities, but luckily my buddy Paul, owner of G-Pod, inventor of G-Pod, great guy. He has been nice enough to help me out with my wedges, and he takes time out of his busy tour schedule to watch me hit wedges and helps me and corrects me. He's a very nice guy, and I really appreciate that about him. But he helped me hit my wedges the same distance without taking a full swing. So I realized that that's what those wedges are for. They're for, guys that don't use full shots with wedges.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those things. Like I've sort of had those struggles too. Like I find with the Haywood, like the different bounces and stuff like that, learning kind of like I played SM7s before, and I don't know, wedges are cool, man. It's fun. It's a fun part of the game to kind of, I don't know, play around with them a little bit. And like you said, you kind of go out at the end of the week to try and work out everything that went more wrong during that week. Right. So
yeah, man. And I try and go out by myself so that, no one else can distract me from how much you hate yourself in those moments of like, like when you just sculled a wedge over the green, but that's all you've been working, because the last, 2 months since, really just being fed up with myself and the way I was playing from 100 in, like if I fixed that my thought was, like if I fix, being 100 yards in, like I'm going to stop shooting in the low 80s period. Like right. I'm just going to stop. If I fix that 100 yards in and I just hit like 2 more greens, 3 more greens, like, when you're only hitting 4 or 5 greens from 100 yards in on 18 holes, you kind of have to step back and go like, wow, you hit a lot of fairways. You only had 32 putts. Where are the rest of those strokes? Like, right. Where is that 83, 84? Where is that? And it's somewhere in between, your fairway tee shot and you sinking your 2-putt when you should have just been on the green or near the fringe or whatever, just closer.
Sure. Man.
Distance management, crappy for me, just terrible.
That's golf, right? Before we let you go, Chris, we're just running short here, but really appreciate you taking the time, man. What's the best way to get a hold of you? If anybody has any questions, where can they reach you?
Oh man, you can email me anytime at Custom Clubs 1776, like America. So that's Custom Clubs 1776 at yahoo.com, and clubs is spelled the same way as it is on my Instagram with a K.
Perfect. So I'll go ahead. I'll link those down below. Anybody wants to get in touch with you, easy. Just scroll down below, click the button, and you got to go over and check out his page, man. It's absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, amazing.
Chris, we appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for coming on. I'm glad we kind of share a little bit of your work with, some of our listeners and some of our viewers, man. It's beautiful.
My brother's to the very much north.
Yeah, man. We love it. All right, Chris.
Yeah, dude. Michigan, Canada, and SoCal. We've covered a lot of land here today, boys.
We definitely did, man. All the best. Take care, Chris.
You too, buddy.
All right.
He's out in my ball in the course, so I tee up. I lose the ball and I re-up. I miss a fairway, I probably end up in the ocean or maybe the beach. And I'm on a par 5 and I'm finna go reach it. Second was blind, I ain't see it. Feel like it might be an albatross.